Okay, today we're going to look at still factorizing quadratics, and still when a is bigger than 1, but this time when there is no common factor. So we can see from the last time we were dealing with them when a was bigger than 1, but we could factorize out that value of a, whereas this time you can see that 4, 11, and 6, they do not have a common factor. So it's a lot trickier to factorize this one. However, I'm going to show you a method today that will do this without trial and error every time. So one way that you might have tackled some of these in the past is to do a little bit of a guess and check trial and error type thing, where you start to list all the possible pairs of factors. So these are all the possible pairs of factors that could give 4x squared and 6. Okay? But if you check and expand them, it's only this green one here that actually gives you 11x. Okay? But writing out all of these pairs takes quite some time to think through. Okay? And even then you've got to go back and check them all to see which one gives you 11x. Now you might be able to do the guess and check when the value of a is prime, because that eliminates the number of possible combinations for coefficients of x within your brackets. Okay? But 4's not prime, and we can see we've already got 8 possible combinations. And this is just too time consuming. Imagine if a was 12, you wouldn't only have 4 and 1 and 2 and 2. You've had so many different combinations for your coefficients of x, it would take you a really long time to work through that. Okay? So the method I'm going to show you now will allow you to get from your expression to the factorized expression without any guess and check, and is the one I want you to practice today. Even if you're quite practiced in guess and check, I don't want you to do that. I want you to practice this one because it will allow you to factorize any of these. So similarly to when we're factorizing when a was 1, we need to look for 2 numbers. And the 2 numbers we need to look for still need to add to make our value of b, which in this case is 11. Okay? But they need to multiply to make something different, not c this time. They need to multiply to make ac, which is the product of a and c. So in this case, 4 times 6, which is 24. That's what. Okay. So we need 2 numbers that add to make 11 and multiply to make 24. Okay. And let me just check those numbers. They should be 8 and 3. Okay. So they are the 2 numbers that we are looking for. So that's what you're aiming to do first. Then what you're going to do from there is you are going to split the middle term. So we had 11x. You're going to split it into 2 terms using those 2 numbers that you just found. So we took that 8 and 3, and I split that middle term of 11x into 8x and 3x. Okay. Then once you've done that, you're going to do something that we call factorizing by grouping. So you're going to group the first 2 terms together and group the second 2 terms together. And then you're going to factorize the first 2 together. Okay. All I'm doing is just ignoring the second 2 terms. All I'm doing is factorizing 4x squared plus 8x to give me 4x bracket x plus 2. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these 2 separately. Their common factor is 3. And that also factorizes to x plus 2. And that should always happen. You should always find a common bracket when you factorize by grouping. Then you can take that common bracket. That common bracket is going to be one of your brackets when you factorize. The other bracket is going to be made up of the other things that surround it. So in this case, it's 4x plus 3. That didn't need to be yellow. Okay. Okay. So that is how we factorize. Now, I've fitted that in quite quickly, so you'll probably need to pause that, go back and have another look. And when you're ready, I want you to have a go at these ones here, using that method that I have just shown you. Split and factorize by grouping. Okay, let's go for it. And your answers should be there.